Alright, hello everyone, hope you're all well, hope you're all staying safe. In today's video, what I want to do is a bit of a classic MZK video, and that is a big, fat, baseless speculation video. I think it's been a bit of time since we've touched on this, and I think it is very much overdue. Specifically, I want to take a look at summer 2020, and I want to look at what is likely to be the summer update for No Man's Sky. Now, before I get into the video, I do want to do a little bit of a plug, but this plug isn't a normal plug. In fact, this is actually an exciting plug. So, due to the last campfire now gaining a little bit of traction, this is the other game which Hello Games is making. The team over at the last campfire Discord server have given me a chance to help promote their Discord. Exciting stuff. So, each member that joins the last campfire Discord server, which is linked in the description, will be entered for a chance to win either a £10 PlayStation wallet card or a £10 Steam wallet card, whatever your preference is. All you have to do is join the server, head into the giveaway channel, and the instructions will be from there. The giveaway ends on the 17th of April, which is a Friday, so please do make sure you enter. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's actually get into the video. No Man's Sky has a kind of cycle whereby we're always hungering for new content and for new updates. Every time it gets to about this time of the year where summer is starting to creep up on us, you know, the weather's getting a bit nice and so forth, we start to look to the future. This is because historically in the summer we have always received large No Man's Sky content updates. We had Atlas Rises, Beyond, and Next, or Next and Beyond if you want to be really pedantic. What I'm trying to get at here is that I have made 1001 speculation videos looking at summer updates, and I think every time I have made these videos I've near enough said the same thing. The thing that bothers me the most is the fact that I continue to make speculation videos pretty much yearly, and my recommendations for a summer update are nearly identical each time. This puts me in an awkward position because I feel like I'm really repeating myself, but at the same time I want this to be a little bit of a signpost for Hello Games if they're watching, but also to highlight where the community wants the game to go. So I do apologise if any of this sounds familiar, because trust me, it is very fucking familiar. First of all, we are of course dealing with a combat update. So we have spoken about a combat update in No Man's Sky for, well, pretty much 4 years. Since the game launched, people have always wanted some kind of a overhaul, some kind of a new enemy, a new threat, or anything like that to do with No Man's Sky, and that's because we've never really received an update which focuses on the combat side of the game. No Man's Sky isn't necessarily a game about combat, it isn't really an aggressive game, it's very peaceful, but there is of course a combat element, and especially with the Nexus, which was introduced with the Beyond update, we now have weekly community missions, and more often than not, these missions are combat related. Missions like killing the biological horrors. Say this gameplay you're watching right now, I had to kill probably about 71 biological horrors in total. But combat is very much a part of the game, even if we're not looking at Sentinels, because Sentinels are really not a threat, or even animals, there is still a push for combat, specifically with the community missions. Hello Games doesn't ignore the combat side of No Man's Sky, and that is a problem. It's a problem because we're presented with a lot of opportunities to engage in combat. Just like the gameplay you're seeing right here, I had to do this in order to get my Quicksilver. But look at this footage, right? Take a minute to look at how fucking boring this footage is. It's me walking around in circles with my mining beam, holding down left click and aiming at enemies. These enemies, well, the biological horrors at least, are incredibly predictable. You can easily outrun them, you can gain a height advantage, or you can strafe around. Hell, if you're like Sword and you have a completely pimped out fucking inventory, then you're just gonna deck these things with absolutely no challenge whatsoever. I understand in the gameplay footage I only have a scatter blaster and a mining beam, but even still, if I had a better weapon, it would make it quicker, not more enjoyable. Therefore, a combat update is something we so desperately need in No Man's Sky, and I want to reiterate just how important this is, because although things like variation and multiplayer and exploration are important, the fact that we constantly encounter combat and the fact that there is a combat option but is so underdeveloped with so much opportunity is a real signpost of what needs to change. Now, I can bore you to death with all of the details about what I would want for a combat update. I think someone like Just Jared released a much better video a while back talking about how No Man's Sky could really benefit from loot. I would recommend you check that video out because he explains it a lot better than I do. But there are a multitude of different things which can be implemented for a No Man's Sky combat update. I think the biggest ones though definitely come down to there being new enemies, a new threat, and definitely an overwhelming sense of danger. Now, when we talk about combat, we don't even have to talk about me killing stuff. We can also talk about stuff trying to kill us. We have hazardous plants on planets, and we also have storms on planets, or hazards which are trying to take us out. These are all completely redundant, including storms, including aggressive animals, including those shitty whip plants. On normal difficulty, as soon as you get about 5 hours into the game, everything is an absolute walk in the park. We need a more overarching sense of danger, and I'm not talking about artificial danger, not danger that you do with permadeath, where the only real threat you have is dying itself, and that's because dying is a lot easier. There aren't new enemies, there aren't more scary planets, the numbers have just been increased. That is not how it works, and although permadeath at the moment is an okay solution to this problem, we really do need an enemy. We need a new threat, something like the Sentinels, but say, I don't know, something more alien or something even more robotic. A combat update is actually quite likely. In fact, I'm tempted to say it's going to be more likely than a variation update. This is largely due to the fact that we now have exomechs. We have big metallic structures that protect us, and we can also use to move and in some cases fight. The fact that we have an exomech, and the fact that the exomech at the moment doesn't really do a lot for the game, I'm going to be honest, the exomech is really just a fancy exocraft, and even at that it's incredibly slow and hard to control. Perhaps this is more of a hint than an actual content addition. Maybe this is Hello Games' way of saying, look, here is one thing which we're going to introduce. This is a little bit of an implication of what's going to be coming in the future. And we know that this is somewhat true because Hello Games have previously stated that whilst they're working on big updates like this supposed summer update, parts of that update that are finished and can be rolled out are actually rolled out. And that is why things like the Living Ships update and the Exomech update have come out. They're parts of bigger plans which are ready, and Hello Games has simply slid them out. However, if they are developing Exomechs, if they were developing these as part of a bigger update, then that is very, very suggestive. Suggestive that there is an overall motif of danger, fighting, ultimately combat. Moving on, we have something which is a little bit less important, but I still do want to touch on it, and that is some form of expanded multiplayer. Now, I don't feel like the entire summer update is going to be a multiplayer update because we have had Next and we have had Beyond. Multiplayer doesn't need an overhaul anymore, it needs more tweaking and minor additions. However, I think it is quite likely that these could be bundled with another update. So when we're talking about multiplayer, I'm talking more about customization options. We now have the ability to buy banners for our player, which is actually really cool. It's an element of customization. It's an element which makes us feel unique from other people. And in some instances, it's actually an element of pride. Think about the Galactic Hub banner or the Galactic Hub decal. It's a community-driven effort that you can kind of support. I think it would be fantastic for Hello Games to expand this even further. Maybe have content creators, for example, for banners or maybe for logos. Something to make the community feel a little bit more tight-knit and to actually show some recognition for creators which people enjoy. This is obviously quite biased, but if we're talking about multiplayer, a big portion of multiplayer multiplayer or maybe other multiplayer games is the element of customization. It makes you feel like you're progressing and you're not just like everybody else. But on top of that, you know, we can go back to the things which we were talking about before Beyond drops, you know, a guild system, potential PvP arenas. There is a fuckload of multiplayer that can be added to. We have a very solid foundation at the moment, and I think Hello Games can most definitely improve upon that. And finally, you already know what's coming. The big V word. No, it's not vagina. Variation. A variation update. An update entirely focused on exploration. An update which Hello Games has put all of their time and effort into completely reworking how planets are generated, how animals, how flora, fauna, anything you want to fucking name, it is all gonna be different. No Man's Sky is built upon procedural generation. That was the original advertisement of No Man's Sky. Every atom procedural, right? What the fuck happened to that? We don't have that in the slightest whatsoever. By far the biggest thing holding No Man's Sky back from being a game which is universally accepted as a piece of art is the variation problem, is the procedural generation being shit. I think it is very likely, and I've said this before, but I think it's very likely that Hello Games have probably been working on a variation overhaul for some time now, possibly since No Man's Sky was first launched, or maybe a year afterwards. I think they have had some kind of project that has been going on under the hood with members dipping in and out of it, and they've been developing an entire overhaul. An overhaul which is going to completely change how we see No Man's Sky. Think about No Man's Sky at the moment. There's a lot of gameplay, there's a lot of stuff to do, which is a huge improvement over the vanilla game, which was basically glorified as a tech demo. Vanilla No Man's Sky was just about exploration. It was about looking at stuff and experiencing stuff because there wasn't anything else to do. Now it's the complete opposite. We have quite a bit to do in terms of content, but the variation side and the exploration side, the actual experience side, is lacking. It is very much flipped around, done a bit of a UE since 2016 No Man's Sky launched. For this reason and a multitude of other reasons, mostly because the community is so vocal about variation, I'm a firm believer that Hello Games have something. I don't know if it will be this summer, but I feel like Hello Games have been working on a fat, and I'm talking PHAT, project for a good few years now, and they have been overly silent about variation because they don't want to overhype or underdeliver, especially considering that they have never really touched variation for just a single update. We've never just had an exploration update. I think that's likely because they are working on something, and it would be pointless for them to release a small variation update if they're working on a huge chunky boy. So to sum it all up, No Man's Sky in summer of 2020. If the world ends because of Corona, or the world is a better place after Corona, I don't know. But there is going to be a battle between a combat update and a variation update. Then again, Hello Games are Hello Games, and they have a specific way of doing things, and more often than not, they pull something out of their ass which absolutely no one expected, but everyone appreciates. A combat update and a variation update are the two biggest things which we need in No Man's Sky right now. Anyway guys, I'm gonna stop rambling. That is a big old juicy video. Takes me back to like 2018. Fucking hell, it's a throwback. But yeah, as always guys, do let me know what you think the summer update will be for No Man's Sky. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you very much for taking 16 minutes out of your day to watch this video. Remember to join the Last Campfire Discord, link in description, for the £10 giveaway, and also because it's Hello Games' pet project. This is another game made by Hello Games, and as a No Man's Sky community, we have an obligation to support it. So fucking get your ass in gear, hop in that server now. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you stay safe, make sure you stay indoors, keep up to date on your hand washing and all of that shit. Hopefully this will all be over soon. I'm going fucking insane. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. This is SkintBoot, signing out.